proceed to the third part of my question, which will be about the operating within some legal frameworks. So the question again, to the first one, to the ministry, Mrs. Trika again, that's what is the current legal framework for this operation in biotechnology companies, for biotechnology companies? Any special regulations you can talk about, or any special requirements they should be aware?
Of course. Legal framework now focus on creative some incentive system for entrepreneurs. And we, of course, have also some special regulations for biotechnology sector. Many of these incentives have been already mentioned by Mrs. Karolina Król, but I think that what should be underlined is R&D tax relief, because we can see that this relief is really popular, and we can see some real effects which are now visible in regard of this relief. And this relief was introduced in 2016 and in 2019 we have 2,437 companies which were using this relief, and there was increase about 40% in comparison to the 2018. So I think that we can see that there is a development of using this relief, and I think that also this IP box, which was also mentioned by Mrs. Karolina, and I think that we should think about some regulations that help the entrepreneurs to go through this most difficult for them phase, which is of course research and the development process in the production system.
Okay. So thank you so much, because it means that you are listening to voices from different agencies and different universities, because they are first of all dealing with biotechnology, daily work. Yeah, so that's important to listen to this. And question to ask to Mr. Sierpiński again, because it's you're working with many universities, and are there any special conditions for cooperation with such a with these universities, and special criteria they have to meet to work with you as agency? To get under your umbrella, yeah?
Yeah, well, of course, I believe that our role as a governmental agency is to work for Polish patients and to serve the universities and Polish biotech sector. That's how I can see my mission and the mission of the Medical Research Agency in Poland. That's why the rules which are usually used in our contests are widely discussed with the academia, with the societies, with the scientific groups. And so I think that all universities in Poland may be the beneficiaries of our work and may cooperate with the Medical Research Agency and may gather from our financing support. Currently, we have created 10 clinical support centers in Poland. It is the beginning of the international network, but for next few years, we would like to develop this network, and we would like to give our support to some smaller universities and even maybe the provincial hospitals to enhance the recruitment of Polish patients to the clinical trials. So we are directing our support to different stakeholders, starting with the best universities, with the best institutes, but still we are seeing also the, let's say, smaller players on Polish market.
Thank you very much. And the question, because question to Dr. Małkowski from Medical University of Białystok, because you are beneficiary of a grant from ABM, from Medical Research Agency, and how this grant did help you, to develop the biotechnology at your university?
We are beneficiaries of more than one grant from the ABM. Yeah. Yes, and it helped us develop the biotechnology in various ways. First of all, we have the grant as a medical university for the test for the COVID, and the test is about how to distinguish the hard and low COVID disease, and how the patient will go through the disease. And then we make the work and research for the test, which will be made based on the biotechnology, and this is one of this. Second, we have 2 grants for the non-commercial clinical trials, and also we will develop our biotechnology ideas, and we can move to the clinical trials thanks to this support. And last but not least, we are, thanks to also support of the Medical Research Agency, the Center for the Clinical Trials, in which we want to enhance and make more clinical trials, both non-commercial, which will be from the university, and there will be the research, which is our IP, our know-how, and also to make more accessible, innovative treatment by the commercial clinical trials, which we will conduct in our hospitals.
Thank you very much. And maybe the question to Dr. Kutrzeba, because you definitely observe what's going on in the market. So what are, in your opinion, the significant risk for your company and your organization? So how do you see that?
There is few of them. Some of them are connected with the current economic situation and COVID crisis, and maybe that's for some, maybe that's not important, but for us as a service provider, to some extent, many of the chemicals and usables we use on our everyday life are being ordered from foreign companies and suppliers. So the whole COVID situation and restrictions break or significantly delay such deliveries.
So chains, delivery chains, yes.
Delivery, yes. So therefore they influence our effectiveness of our work. So so that's something that we observe like here and now. In a broader perspective, we see lack of professional staff, professionals available on market. Again, the whole COVID situation make people a little bit less mobile, and therefore there is a difficulty in access of getting professional I don't want to say workforce, but professionals who know their stuff and know they're pretty much experienced. And on the other hand, there is a competition between companies because, like we are discussing here, the whole COVID situation actually caused biotech sector to flourish. So therefore, on one hand, we have lack of mobility of people, but on the other hand, there's a high demand for those. And when I hire people on a regular basis, I find really difficulties in finding people from professional sector, from professional biotech sector to come to work at JCI here. And obviously people may say that this is, the offer, the money, I mean, all influences that. So access to professional human capital is quite a bit restriction that we have right now. But on the other hand, there are some market opportunities for us at the moment. So not only this what stops us from the development, but something that pushes us. And definitely what we observe since a few months is an increase of outsourcing of research. The first COVID wave, I would say it stopped a little bit, stopped the flow of research projects, but immediately after this sort of in May or June, the less of the restrictions, when it came to lower the restrictions, immediately we had so many research projects incoming that it's
awaken again.
Yeah, it's hard really to fulfill all the needs, and we are estimating that once the second wave comes through, or hopefully the vaccine is going to be developed, or effective treatment, the demand for research projects will be even higher. So the constraint that we have again is space. So we have 20,000 square meters of laboratory space in 3 buildings, fully rented. Obviously, some of this space we occupy within with our own laboratories, but again, we observe number of inquiries from biotech sector, smaller companies, medium-sized companies who are coming and knocking to our doors. And asking for laboratory space because they have money, because NCBR gives money, because there's access money from ABM. So
lots of new opportunities. Lots of new opportunities.
So lots of opportunities, and this theme that is around here, this conversation that the sector is flourishing, that it's developing, and there's a high market opportunities. I observe this from my perspective as well, and it would be nice to have another 3 buildings. Like I said, there are restrictions right now in terms of money and just simply a lot to build it on. So it would be really nice to have additional space to help companies to grow.
Thank you very much, because it's I asked you for risks about the risks, but you finished with very positive signs that you see so many opportunities. It's always like in every war, now we are at the war with COVID, so that's the results, the brain creativity, and people's creativity. So that's even with the broken logistic chains. So that's we come up with some smart solutions. Thank you very much. And so we are trying to sum up our discussion by the last round of questions. So it's a summary, showing the place of Polish biotechnology in Europe and in the world. And a question to Mr. Klus from Ministry of Economic Development, chief expert in the Department for Trade and International Cooperation. So place of Polish economy. The question about the place of Polish economy on the world and Europe's map. Can you summarize, what have been said, and I know it's the most difficult question I gave you, but it's.
No, I think it's the easiest question. Ladies and gentlemen, dear guests, I would like to continue the positive message from Łukasz Kutrzeba. So you know already very well that Polish economy is one of the strongest in the world. And when we are talking about biotechnological companies, we are talking about the sector which is the strongest and the fastest growing industry, export industry in Poland. The average growth is 10% per year within the last 8 years time. So the total cumulative growth of our export is 120%. To give you a comparison, the total world's market grew by 45%. So Polish biotechnological companies and institutions and the whole ecosystem grows 3 much faster than the world's average. So we are talking about the most dynamic industry in Poland and within our economy. So we are trading mostly with European Union, with Western European countries like Germany, Czechia, France. We can add UK to that, of course. And on the other hand, this is 75% of our export, and 25% is the rest of the world, with the major stake of former Soviet Union countries. It means Russia, Kazakhstan, Ukraine, Belarus, and so on. So what are the most perspective market we would like to, and we invite investors and companies from countries like, we want to be more present on markets like Brazil or China, Korea, Saudi Arabia, Japan, USA, of course, Canada, and many more. These can be new and most perspective markets for our companies. And of course, Western Europe still will be the major market for us, and we want to cooperate and to maintain our cooperation with institutions and companies from that market. As a ministry, we support our companies to be present on foreign markets. We promote the biotechnological industries for many years from now. We were present in trade fairs, and we had national stands in countries like USA, China, Russia, India, Dubai, and many more. And we will be present in next years also in Saudi Arabia, Germany, Switzerland, and many in other countries with our national stands, and you can meet our companies and our institutions on that markets, on that trade fairs and events. Ladies and gentlemen, dear guests, I would like to encourage you to cooperate with our companies, with our ecosystem and institutions, to enter the ecosystem, to visit Poland, to invest in Poland, and wish you a happy day and happy. This is the positive message for you.
Thank you very much for this positive message, which is so necessary. More of them, so they will be passed to the world. Thank you very much, Mr. Klus. And the same question, almost the same, but what is the investment perspective in your eyes? In eyes of a Polish Agency for Investment and Trade, the investment perspective for biotech companies in Poland.
My answer will be in line with what Mrs. Stryka said. Biotech, it's not only about money, it's about healthy and happy society, because the economic growth is based on healthy society.
But money can help a little bit,
yes,
to achieve this.
If used well, yes.
If it's used well, yes, to help this.
Yeah, exactly. In a current situation, we are observing that without a healthy society, without stable health system, it's difficult to grow. So it's very important. And regarding some analysis, the sector will grow by 40% in next 4 or 5 years. So it's a lot. And Poland has wants to be a big part of this global growth, and that's why we want to attract more investors. Independent research organizations, but also active pharmaceutical ingredient producers. We also want to attract global players that can set up their activity in Poland.
To show them the real value of Polish biotechnology, so that's...
Exactly, and cooperate with our SMEs and with our research centers. We could see during our debate today that we have a great potential that is waiting for other opportunities and other projects. And we are living in an aging society, but also in a society that is aware of modern medical treatments. It's gonna develop, and we should really focus on biotech, not only because it's a very important part of our economy, also because it's a very important part of our lives.
Thank you so much. And the question, to you, how do you see that developments in terms of, next, let's say, 12 months? So that's what will be overall conditions in biotechnology sector in Europe, and how Poland is placed, in your opinion, in this market?
Yes, I think we need to consider this on two different levels. The first level is more what Carolina said before. I think the situation is very attractive now. It's
and
potentially speaking,
very dynamic.
Yeah. One of the things that this epidemic thing, this pandemic created is also to increase the interest in some of the some specific sector in the industry, and biotech is one of these. Pharma is one of these. So on this point of view, everything is positive in the sense that we can see an interest at every level, especially at government level, to try to in a way take advantage of this crisis in order to improve specifically some sectors. On the other hand, I have to say, I always make some comparisons when I talk about industries. If we consider the biotech sector, especially the pharma sector, it was constant in terms of request, exigencies, needs over the years. What I mean with that, in other words, if you take the automotive sector, so the first cars were being produced in order to develop the technology. Then we had, kind of cars for families. Then we had, the evolution was kind of supercars to run fast.
Yeah.
Now we have car as status symbols. Soon, and you see already this on the market, we will have cars, green cars. So you see, it changed a bit the scope.
Yeah.
Biotech and pharma in particular instead kept this scope always, the amelioration
Keeps
of the
eye on
health,
all this,
health and social well-being and so on. So in this sense, I can see that we are one step forward in facing these, because we are very clear what we have to do. And one last thing I want to say about Poland is that what we noticed in Europe, my organization, EBN, is noticing these days, talking about biotech, is that diversification, it's very important in also internally to the biotech sector. Because, of course, Poland now has a very much an orientation on cosmetics, medicaments, and so on. Maybe diversification also in other sectors of the biotech could be, an improvement. So just a bit, trying to create the conditions which are already there. You just have to take them and exploit them in order for the entire biotech sector to be one of the best in Europe and to some extent also to the world.
Especially when we all repeated a few times that it's related with all aspects of our lives. So now we are focused so much on health, and well-being, but because it's natural, in the present pandemic
That's
times.
why we say it, but in general...
we don't have to, we cannot forget about the other aspects. So that's
what I'm saying is that in general, as a final word, the trend is very positive.
Yeah.
Even in the presence of crises connected to the, which are influencing all countries in Europe. Poland has some very good excellences here. Another sector is ICT, creative sectors for video games. Some years ago, Poland, a Polish company located here in Warsaw, by the way, won the best video games, I think, on the entire
CD
world.
Projekt,
And and they did also films, So you see, there are excellences, and excellences also at the level of in the biotech sector.
And it's going like this.
So my opinion is very positive.
Thank you very much. Now the question I have, I don't know, it's a kind of question like to the fortune teller, but it's a question to Medical Research Agency, and combined with to Mr. Sierpiński, and combined with the latest statement, one of the statements of Chancellor Ursula von der Leyen regarding the opportunities for establishing a European agency similar to BARDA, which is Biomedical Advanced Research and Development Authority. Do you think that Medical Research Agency claimed to be such a BARDA for Europe?
Well, it will be the wishful thinking, let's say.
That's why I call you fortune teller.
I would like to, but to be honest, I think it's very important sentence from Mrs. von der Leyen, who said that according to the European Union was not so, let's say, perfect working during the pandemics. We need the Central European Medical Research Agency, which can promote the European Union international collaboration in the field of science, maybe somehow in the next pandemics, because it is very possible that the COVID is not the only pandemics for the next few years. That's why maybe we need such an institution, because the COVID pandemics showed us that during the big problems, during the pandemic, the particular countries are closing up. They are working not via the European Commission, but via their own governments for their own patients, the citizens. That's why maybe we need such a tool, such an instrument, which can lead us to buy the vaccines, to buy the drugs like the remdesivir or favinapir, which were let's say, taken by our friends from the USA. And that's why maybe we should think about creating such an institution who can help us in such a tough times. So currently we are in the close contact with European Commission. We are working on this document, but still we would like to collaborate with the European Commission by creating this institution. So I hope, finger crossed, for creating it in next 3 years.
So no other documents without Poland, yeah? We must have our voice, heard somewhere in this world, yeah?
Well, lobbying is very important.
Of course. So thank you very much for your lobbying in advance, of course.
My pleasure.
And the last question the last two questions, but the same one to Dr. Andrzej Małkowski from Medical University in Białystok, and then to Dr. Łukasz Kutrzeba, that what will happen, within the next 12 months, again, it's fortune teller, but what do you expect, what will be overall conditions? They will improve or they will worsen, but maybe positive signs, please.
Always positive.
Thank you.
despite it will be a hard time because it is hard time for now, but we can see that it's a very promising time for biotech. So the biotech is, I think, one of the one of these fields that can bust through this COVID pandemic, and there will be, I think, there will be many new things that will be developed and created, and I think it is a time. It will be quite good time for the biotech, and I think all these elements of this ecosystem will have time and possibility to develop.
Thank you very much. And the same question to Dr. Łukasz Kutrzeba. That's what you expect within the next 12 months, the overall conditions of biotechnology. What do you think will happen?
It is a fortune telling, but I will refer to the market stock exchange. Now, if you remember March 2020 and the crash that happened all over the markets from the US through Europe and then ending at the Asian stock markets. The value of shares dropped by 30 to 50% on average of all companies, regardless. If you look at, across sectors, there was a dramatic crash. Now, look at those companies that are registered on the Warsaw Stock Exchange. And if you look at the April, May, you could observe a spectacular examples of increase of shares value. And just to mention, Blirt, Biomed, Biomaxima, Silvita, Synectic. Biomed, Blirt, and Biomaxima reported to something between 1,000 and 2,000% of increase in shares year
Incredible,
to date.
Yeah.
That's just, it's crazy. So if you're asking about the future of the biotech sector within the next 12 months, it's a roller coaster. But on the other hand, you see a stable sort of resistance towards this crisis among Polish biotech companies. Silvita, Synectic, Ryvu, they keep constant growth of about, I would say year to date, about 80%, 50 to 80% of increase. So what it tells us? It tells us that Polish biotech sector can respond really quickly to the market need. Moreover, at the national level and also European level can work very nicely, providing services and providing problem solving that happened because of the lack of and break of the supply chain, because of the lack of transportation from China, from Asia, from places where we were used to order many supplies that were needed to conduct our work. So that's one thing. And second thing is in vitro diagnostics. For many years, in vitro diagnostics was not really. We didn't pay that much attention to it. There were obviously technologies developed in terms of cancer diagnostics and then looking for biomarkers that could help us better understand cancer as a disease itself, plus obviously diagnostic peoples and go towards personalized medicine. Nowadays, there's such a high demand for diagnostics and molecular tests, obviously driven by COVID situation, that obviously creates further demand for equipment, for space, for people. I was talking about resources. We had changes in regulations because people who are able, who are eligible, let's say like this, to perform diagnostic tests, they require certain education, they require certain certificates. We don't have that many people right now in Poland, and the demand is huge, and we will not supply those like this. Plus, I mean, that obviously refers to the
It
to
takes
the
time,
situations
of course, you know, it takes time, everything,
Yeah.
so that's...
Yeah, two things. The sector will grow until, and the in vitro diagnostic sector will grow as well until the vaccine or effective development, treatment is developed.
Thank you very
So
much.
that's my sort of short-term 12 months understanding of the situation that will happen.
Thank you very much. So now the summary was, as a summary of our discussion today, I would like to thank very much, on my all guests, to my all guests, to those on stage and also those online. So we are passing very strong message, I think, to the world. The first, that Polish biotechnology is awakened. And it will be shining, it is shining already, but it will be visible very much in the world very soon, thanks also to the promotion given by all governmental institutions, including, ministry, but also including, the Polish Agency for Investment and Trade, but also to the agencies like Medical Research Agency and your agency as well. So that's thank you very much. And let this positive sign, will stay with us and will be continued then. So keep fingers for this, the good signs, that's, and for the, let's say, again, a recovery of this logistic chain. So that will be that will be make possible again, the R&D working properly, and biotechnology will be on a rising trend as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you.